Epilos Musimbi from an organization called Youth on the Move, Empower Talents with Epilepsy, under the umbrella of United Disabled Persons of Kenya. This is a non-registered organization that has walked the journey for young persons and their caregivers with epilepsy, psychosocial disabilities, and even physical disabilities for the last 16 years. I can say we have mentored young persons with these disabilities, close to 400 of them. So today we are marking this day just to let the world know that disability is not inability, but there is a big challenge for young persons, especially with epilepsy, like the team behind me, with psychosocial disabilities, or rather to say invisible disabilities. They are not compared to people on wheelchairs who can easily be identified and be given the support. Some of them have really been ridiculed, or they have not been taken seriously whenever they share in public spaces that they just need a little bit of extra support because of their disability. Epilepsy is one of the leading neurological disabilities in the world. Close to 50 million people are living with it, yet it still remains a highly stigmatized condition because of the myths and misconceptions attached to this condition. As their mentor and the director of the organization, I have helped young people transition to adulthood with their disability, with the hope that they can still live normal lives, go against the stigma, and still pursue their dreams. However, the biggest challenge remains the support, especially from our government and even the private sector, for the invisible disabilities. And like in Kenya, approximately 1.5 people live with epilepsy. But the question is, why is it that it still remains highly stigmatized? It's because of lack of information and a challenge with accessing the medication. It becomes even hard to get this medical support from the public facilities. The drugs are too expensive. And the biggest gap why we chose to deal with young persons with disability, it's the desire of every parent to see his once young child transition to adulthood and live a normal, fulfilling life. But because of the stigma, when there are children, they follow what their parents are telling them. But as they transition to adulthood, they want more information. Why me? Why with this disability? How am I going to cope? It's some sad scenario if I give a story. One young person walks to my office and tells me, "You say that I can live a normal life. You have empowered me, I've accepted my condition. But whom am I going to marry? If my mother was dropped by my dad because I had the disability myself, now what about me who has this disability?" Therefore, as we mark this day, looking at our theme, Transformative Solutions for Inclusive Development, I'm looking forward to seeing young persons with disability, whether invisible or physical, being incorporated and included in all spaces, economic spaces, political spaces, being given a voice and being understood. The most important is for them to be understood, for them to be empowered, and for them even to be accepted in workplaces. Quite a number have lost jobs, not because they are not qualified, but because they got an attack while at work. And the employer has to look for ways around to dismiss them. Therefore, I'm really happy about this day. I'm happy for this occasion, and I believe from now onwards, I'm going to see a transformative society that embraces young persons with epilepsy, young persons with psychosocial disabilities, and all other disabilities. Just a word to all the caregivers. I can say I'm a caregiver to all of them. It is a journey, but it's a journey of hope, because at least Kenya has ratified the UN CRPD Charter. Kenya, the disability bill is now in Parliament, and we are hoping that it will go on well. And there has been some positive milestones, but we are yet to be there. Thank you. First, Youth on the Move is a registered non-governmental organization. And also I mentioned we are under the umbrella of United. Yes, they have the Yes, they have the disability card, but I can say for invisible disabilities, even accessing that disability card has been a journey. Trying to convince, even when you go for the medication, for the assessment, to convince that you have it. You may have all the records, but then you find it becomes especially quite challenging because this is an invisible disability. And then also the process, like being told you have to produce an EEG report, and an EEG report, the cheapest electrocephalogram report in Kenya, the cheapest goes for around 4,000. Now you can imagine accessing all those EEG reports, equipping them, and then now going now to prove indeed that you have a disability. The case even becomes worse now when they approach the Kenya Revenue Authority for tax waivers, because they are entitled like any other persons, but because of the invisible, it really becomes a bit challenging, or rather tough, to convince. And when you expect the medical fraternity and the government that you are getting these waivers or these disability cards from, taking you through all that turmoil of accessing those documents, to me, that is still stigma.
And how does now the National Disability Person come to? Do they give you any help? Do they give you, and when you approach them with such challenges?
That's why we are saying it's still a journey. Like through the National Council, persons with albinism access the sunscreens for free. But for epilepsy, the anti-seizure medication, for the other psychosocial disabilities, no. And there is no facility that even gives subsidized treatment, government facility, unless for a few non-governmental that really supports that. So they are yet to see that support from the government. Yeah.
Then my last question is apart from this group, are you also working with, are you also mentoring these others, the ones that maybe they have physical disability or any other kind of disability?
Yes, we welcome all young persons, 18 to 35 years. Like if you look in our team here, there are those with epilepsy, there are those with psychosocial disability, there are those with physical plus psychosocial disability amongst us. So we don't rule out, though our bigger mission is on epilepsy. But for all other youth who come in with physical, we welcome them. Yeah. First of all, I can say it has been a milestone as we transition from NHIF. It's only the last couple of years that NHIF would take care of their medication. But the biggest challenge was going to those facilities. Yes, you have the NHIF card, but there are no drugs. So you are still told to go and buy. Now with the SHA, it's our prayer and hope that, as they say, it's inclusive. I hope it's inclusive to the extent of taking care of all disabilities, and where possible, better treatment and better care for persons with disabilities. Yeah.
Kwa majina ni Steven Onyango. Nafurahia kuona hii siku ya leo, hii siku ya World Disability Day. Nimefurahia sana. Na kwa jani yangu, naweza sema nimepita a bit challenges. Condition yangu, I am a physical handicap and epilepsy. Na ilinianza nikiwa 1 year and a half. Na nilipokuwa 1 year and a half, nilipata kuchomeka my right hand, nikakuwa paralyzed. But my mama alijaribu kunisaidia kwa upande yote. Akanitembeza vile mzazi anaweza kutembeza mtoto wake, si ndio? But so far alinisaidia sana. Na nilipokuwa naenda, mama alinipeleka hadi kwa witchcrafts, is it? Ndio apate jinsi kunisaidia. But all in all, nafurahia sana nilipo join Youth on the Move. Nikapata more education through my condition of epilepsy. nikajua how to manage it, cause moja wakati kama sikuwa nimejoin, sikuwa najua how to manage it, how to control it, and so far naweza control my anger, yani kitu naweza fanya nipate hii epilepsy, nipate attack, ndio najaribu control. Nashukuru sana Youth on the Move, na Youth on the Move imenitoa mbali. Kama si Youth on the Move singefika mali nimefika. Yeah. Okay, mimi kwa upande wangu nasema kupata hizi dawa za epilepsy ni more ni bei ghali, sababu unapata kwa mfano tuseme ukienda kwa hao watu wa TB na hizi HIV and AIDS wanapata free medication, but kuja kwa upande wetu unapata challenge kupata hiyo dawa ni shida, na unajua hatuwezi survive bila dawa. Ni kweli, na dawa zetu unapata one tablet ina cost almost 50 shillings one tablet, na hiyo one tablet unataka umeze 3 times a day in 1 month, so it's more expensive. So tunataka at least government ituingilie kati, itusaidie kupata hizo dawa ama kwa affordable price yenye tunaweza afford. Yeah. Okay. Kwa upande wangu mimi naweza sema disability is not an ability. Tuseme kwa mfano unapata watu wengine wanapata more chances kwa introduce kwa job, na wanawacha disability kando. Na ukipata umepatia mtu wa disability chance ina easy time, utapata atafanya kazi yake kwa utaratibu na vile inafaa. So pia government usisha watu pia disability persons wafanye wako included, ndio pia wafeel wako comfortable. Yeah.
My name is Marilyn Wangoi Washira. To me, I have been epileptic over 23 years. I was diagnosed with epilepsy through meningitis. To me, I have been in 2009, my mother passed, and to me it has been quite challenging because of medication. Let's say having the MRI, which I had been told to be taken, which the family was not able to avoid it, to give it to me. And to me, it has been also challenging over jobs, having a job, and also in relationship. People fear, and even people, the family themselves, see as if it's so hard because of those medication and other things, because conversions are something that comes unknowingly. They come unknowingly, anytime, anywhere. Let's say another time I burned my leg. I was with my dad alone, and I spent the days having conversion, where I was taken to KU and admitted. It's a bit challenging because my dad couldn't take that place, take me to hospital because my mother is not there. But luckily my sister-in-law came and took me to hospital, where I was admitted. And that's how challenging as a lady it is. Yeah.
My name is Faith Gatere. I'm from Differently Talented Society of Kenya. It's a society that brings together autistic persons and their primary caregivers. What we do is we give, it's a psychosocial support group for parents and the autistic caregivers. We are based in 7 counties in this country. That's where we run programs. That's Migori, Nyeri, Nairobi, Machakos, Kajiado, Kiambu, and Nakuru. Yes.
So, how has it been? Okay.
Differently Talented Society of Kenya was started by parents. Parents came together to offer support to each other, and that's where the organization originated from. It was started in 2016, and it gives support, the psychosocial support and counseling to parents and the adults. It's a linkage to different things that are happening, linkage to NCPWD, the government activities that are happening. It's like an information center where information is shared.
Briefly, challenges
As a parent, the challenges that I encounter most is education. The school setup for autistic learners. We find that, yes, we are talking of inclusive education, but we still find that some learners on the autism spectrum are being left out. Schools are not inclusive. Another thing is access to medication, therapies, and access to unconversants.
So lastly, what are you looking forward as you celebrate this day with this group?
We are looking forward. I would say that it has been a journey, and the government, through the council, has come up with programs that they are piloting programs that are autistic-minded, and as caregivers, we are happy. And as we celebrate this day, what I'd say is that the government considers schools for autistic learners and to come up with maybe a database where we can know how many autistic persons are there in this country.
Hello, my name is Paul Muge. I'm an autistic youth. All my life, I've been autistic all my life, I can say that. And yeah, before I got to know it as a disability, I used to treat it more of a medical condition until once I was told it was a disability. I kind of researched into it and learned on the social models, and also learning that I can live without treating it as a medical condition. And yeah, and I've also been finding support groups with the Different Talented Society of Kenya, United Disabled Persons of Kenya, and so many organizations. And yeah, that's how my life has been.
Any challenge that you've encountered growing up?
Lack of awareness, I can say that. You see, there are things you tend to do, people see as crazy, and there are things you do, people will see you like a truant, a rebel, and it has been really, really tough on me. And you try to explain to people you're autistic. You see, people think that there is a perception of how autistic people should look like. So people will be like, oh, you're autistic. Then they're like, no, you don't look like one. And also, yeah, I also get challenges of people praying for me, saying it's a generational curse. So yeah, yeah, and it's tough, but we just learn on how to spread awareness. At the same time, I feel like even our laws are not really great on persons, not only on autistic people, but persons with psychological and intellectual disabilities. And we feel like there is not enough data on the persons with disabilities, especially psychological and intellectual. And I think that is one of, and there is also a lot of stigma and discrimination. Yes. First of all, I look for, as we celebrate the International Disability Day, So we first of all pray that we should have enough data so as to know on the current number of people with disabilities, and the data shouldn't feel general. It should be in a specific manner. We should know who has so as to capture persons with psychological and intellectual disabilities. At the same time, I feel like our law should be revised. In a way, we should revise the Persons with Disability Act. We should revise the Mental Health Act so as to align with the UNCRPD. And also, we should look into ways we can create awareness for all types of disabilities and people to live with it in a harmonious community. Okay, thank you.
I start? My name is Ayuviduta Moreidi. I'm Down syndrome advocate. I was born with Down syndrome. I work with an organization called Down Syndrome Society of Kenya, as known as UDP, known as DSSK, and another organization with UDPK. I'm learning to be a self-advocate. I'm here to celebrate International Day of everyone with disability, and as a self-advocate for Down syndrome.
What is your greatest challenge that you've encountered during this?
Okay, my counter challenge.
Speak even in Kiswahili. Hata Kiswahili, hata
Yeah.
whatever that you're comfortable with.
How has the journey been like in schools? Yeah.
Okay, in schools, it's a quite challenge to look for schools. But for me, I've managed for education level. I have finished up to Form 4. It's a quite challenge, but I already succeed in college. I want to encourage people out there, a person with disability, come out of the house, go to school and learn more about things you may not know. Yeah.
And challenges.
Okay, my name is Roslyn. Sorry. My name is Roslyn from Down Syndrome Society of Kenya. And Down Syndrome Society of Kenya is an organization, a support organization for parents and for persons with Down syndrome. Like you've heard from Ivy, there have been so many challenges to do with schools. Like Ivy is one of the self-advocates who has at least managed to get to the Form 4. Most of them normally, they stay in one class, they are not accommodated properly. So we've been having such challenges in schools. Yes.
What do you look forward to?
What we look forward to, first I would like to just say that we are happy to at least know that the government is trying so much to at least to create awareness on disability, especially on intellectual disability. Now that we have a program in the National Council for Persons with Disability, we at least for persons with neurodivergent disabilities. So that is one step, and we are hoping that as we push for more awareness creation, at least we are going to have people embracing Down syndrome, people embracing people with learning disability and persons with intellectual disabilities. Yes, in all levels, whether it's in school, also in employment, for we have so many gaps, because most of them, they are not skilled. They are not able to, they don't have those certificates that we are normally required in employment. So we are looking forward to at least being embraced more, yeah, in the society and also just everywhere. Yes.
So briefly, you can say that
with Down syndrome, actually, you can tell with the physical features. Like now we've had Paul here. Paul has autism and Ivy has Down syndrome. With Down syndrome, you can clearly tell, but just by looking at a person, yeah? But now for autism, it's more of behavior. So there is that different, but they are all under the category of the neurodivergent disabilities. Yes. Yeah.